So you're in your 20s and that first paycheck just landed. Awesome, right? Okay, let's talk about building a really simple but super powerful financial plan. Think of this as your personal blueprint to get set up for long-term wealth, right from day one.
Okay, so that first real paycheck, it's just sitting there in your bank account. It feels incredible, doesn't it? But now for the big question. What's the very first move you make with that cash? The answer? Well, it might not be what you think. And honestly, it's the foundation for literally everything else we're going to talk about. It all kicks off with this one simple idea, a total mindset shift. I call it the golden rule. Your future self gets paid first. Yeah, that's right. Before you even think about rent or going out with friends or that brand new phone you've been eyeing, you have to take care of the person you're going to be in 10, 20, even 30 years from now.
And look, this isn't just some friendly advice. This is non-negotiable. The day you get your salary, that very same day, you make your first investment. Not after you've paid your bills, not at the end of the month when you see what's left. Nope, it happens first. Trust me, this is hands down the single most powerful financial habit you can possibly build.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do you put it into practice? Well, we're going to use something called the 50-30-20 wealth budget. And this isn't your parents' boring old budget, okay? This is a simple, really powerful framework that's specifically designed for someone just starting out to help you build wealth right from the get-go.
So here's the breakdown. It's super simple. 50% of your take-home pay goes to your needs. You know, the essentials, rent, groceries, getting to work. Then 30% is for your wants. All the fun stuff like eating out, movies, maybe a weekend trip. And that last absolutely crucial 20%, that's locked in. That's for you. That's for investing and saving.
Let's put some real numbers on this to make it clear. Say your monthly salary after tax is 40,000 rupees, right? So following the rule, that's 20,000 for your needs, 12,000 for your wants, and a really solid 8,000 rupees that goes straight into building your future wealth. See, you can absolutely still have a great social life while investing a pretty significant chunk of your income.
All right, so we know how much to invest, but let's be real. How do we make sure we do it every single month? Because relying on willpower alone, that's a recipe for disaster. The secret, the real game changer, is to automate it. We're going to build a wealth engine and put the entire thing on autopilot.
And the best tool for the job is something called a systematic investment plan, or an SIP for short. All it is really is a simple instruction you give your bank. It says, hey, every month on this date, automatically take a fixed amount of money, like that 8,000 rupees we talked about, and invest it into this mutual fund for me. You literally set it up once, and then you can forget about it. It just runs in the background.
So why are these SIPs so darn effective? Well, a few reasons. First, they force you to be disciplined, right? The money is invested before you even have a chance to spend it. Second, they are the key to unlocking the magic of compounding. And third, they're just smart. They use something called rupee cost averaging, which is a fancy way of saying you automatically buy more units when the market is down and fewer when it's up. It takes all the guesswork and emotion out of the equation.
Okay, so your 8,000 rupees is now being automatically invested every single month. Fantastic, but where is it going? Into what? Let's dive into a smart allocation strategy so we can put that money to work in the most effective way possible.
So here's a really balanced way to look at it. We're going to split that 8,000 into 3 different buckets. The biggest chunk, 5,000, is going into equity. Then 2,000 goes into debt. And that last 1,000, and this is so important, goes towards building your emergency fund.
So let's talk about the why behind this split. That 5,000 in equity, that's your growth engine. It's things like stock market mutual funds. Since you're in your 20s, you have time on your side, which means you can take on a bit more risk for much higher potential returns. Then you have the 2,000 in safer debt instruments. Think of things like bonds. This is your stability, your anchor. And finally, that 1,000, that's for your safety net. You're using it to build up an emergency fund that can cover 6 months of your expenses. This is absolutely critical because it means you'll never be forced to sell your long-term investments if you hit a rough patch.
All right, we've got our budget, we've got our automation set up, we know our allocation strategy. Now it's time for the final piece of the puzzle, the thing that's going to supercharge this entire plan. It's called the 10% step-up rule. And trust me, this is how you turbocharge your compounding.
The idea here is so simple, but its effect is, well, it's massive. Every single year, when you get a salary hike, you just increase your monthly SIP amount by at least 10%. So that 8,000 rupee investment, next year it becomes 8,800. And the year after that, it goes up again. I know, it might not sound like a huge deal, but this tiny, consistent increase creates this wealth snowball that just grows and grows. The impact this has on your final corpus after 30 years it's honestly unbelievable.
You know, if there's one single idea that ties this whole blueprint together, it's this. The whole point of this system is to stop you from trying to guess what the market's going to do next. Because success in investing isn't about timing the market, it's about time in the market. Just letting your money work for you day in and day out for as long as you possibly can.
So, there it is, a complete financial blueprint, laid out step by step. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's designed for you. The only thing left now is to actually do it. So, you have the plan. The question I have for you is, what's the one step you're going to take today to get this thing started?